On May 20th, 1951, American F-86 Sabre jets ripped through enemy airspace above Sinuiju, North Korea at over 500 miles per hour. Their objective is simple: lure enemy MiGs into a fight and kill as many as possible. These pilots are pioneers of a new age. Air combat is now driven by the jet engine.
These guys went into a very unknown environment. They went into a very tough war. This wasn't World War II. They took airplanes that were flying twice the speed of any fighter combat before, and they showed us how it was done.
James Jabara flies element lead in a flight of 6. The 27-year-old captain is one of the best. A Mustang pilot during World War II, he's become a master of jet versus jet combat. With 4 MiG-15 kills to his credit, he's one away from becoming the first American ace of the jet age. Jabara is so close.
I mean, he's got 4 MiG kills. The Air Force desperately wants an ace, and he's the guy that can do it.
After only minutes in enemy territory, he'll get his chance. 50 gleaming MiG-15s scream across the Yalu River to take on the Americans. Jabara punches his tanks to streamline his fighter for combat, but something goes wrong. He loses only one of his tanks.
He loses only one of his tanks, gets a huge asymmetric rocking motion on the aircraft, probably bangs his head off the canopy, has a difficult time controlling the airplane.
The pins securing the tanks to the wing have frozen, a common problem in the frigid skies of North Korea. Standing orders dictate that he must return to base. He puts both hands on the stick, steadies it, and gets the aircraft back under control.
And then in a very short amount of time, has to make that critical combat decision. Can I still fight with this airplane? Now, his judgment is weighed with his aggressiveness, and his aggressiveness wins out.
Jabara and the rest of the Americans pull a right break into the oncoming enemy. Approaching head-on, the fighters close at over 1,600 feet per second. At this speed, it's next to impossible to get an accurate shot. The MiGs thunder past. Jabara jerks the stick hard left to pursue. The hung wing tank turns his F-86 into a bucking Bronco.
He's probably pulling 30, 40, 50 pounds of stick force right there and trying to control his jet as he's pulling lead out in front.
Jabara's wingman, Salvador Kemp, calls out 3 more MiGs diving fast from behind. The MiGs are here. They've gained a 100-mile-per-hour speed advantage in the dive. Jabara and Kemp are here, with only a split second to counter them. The MiGs hurtle in. Jabara pulls up and to the right. He's using the MiGs' diving speed against them, forcing an overshoot.
Jabara's brake turn up to the right forces 2 MiGs to go right by and continue to go. One MiG, for one reason or another, decides to peel off to the left, exposing his belly to Jabara.
Jabara pounces. He snaps his plane to the left and locks on to tail-end Charlie.
Not only is that the sign of a good fighter pilot, but it's a sign of a good fighter pilot in the new jet age. Things happen extremely fast, and those that are able to react almost before it happens are able to take advantage.
The bandit stays in a diving left turn. Jabara pulls the stick in tight to stay in trail. At this altitude, the F-86 and MiG-15 are evenly matched in a turning fight. But Jabara's got something his foe lacks: a G-suit. It's a World War II invention that came into its own as an essential tool of dogfighting in the jet age. The G-suit constricts around Jabara's legs and abdomen, keeping blood from pooling in his extremities. Jabara is able to pull tighter than the MiG pilot without blacking out. He closes the gap. His coveted 5th kill is now in perfect position, dead center in his gun sight. Jabara opens fire. 50 caliber rounds impact the MiG. The pilot ejects. Seconds later, the empty fuselage explodes.
This is what he's been working for. This is why he's been in Korea. So he has got to be elated at this point.
It's a confirmed kill. America has its first jet ace. September 23rd, 1917. In the midst of a wild melee, famed German ace Werner Voss holds his own against no less than 6 top British aces. Voss savors the combat, superbly demonstrating the lethal effectiveness of his prototype Fokker triplane.
Stick and throttle ability, his ability to fly in a disciplined way in a fight, his ability to stay not calm, but to keep his wits about him in these very stressful situations. If he were flying with us today, he'd probably be one of the best.
British SE-5 pilot Richard Maybury now zeroes in on Voss, diving on him from 6 o'clock. Voss breaks right to shake him off, but Maybury is not thrown.
At this point in the battle, things get very complicated and very confused. An albatross joins the battle, which of course helps Voss considerably, at least numerically.
A German Albatross D3 has stumbled into the action, turning easily onto Maybury's tail. Maybury zoom climbs to shake the Albatross. The German pilot gives chase. But even worse, Voss latches on as well. Flying nearby, James McCudden and Arthur Rhys-Davids move in behind the Germans. And for a moment, the battle is transformed into a wild, twisty tail chase. The Germans are sandwiched between the British. The Albatross pitches up, zooms, then drops in behind McCudden and Rhys-Davids. The German yanks the stick back. A gut-churning loop puts him squarely behind the British.
Unfortunately for Rhys-Davids, the Albatross manages to unload his guns into his airplane.
But Rhys-Davids stays in the fight, the Albatross still on his tail. Now, at the head of the chase, Richard Maybury will pitch up and look back on the tail of the red-nosed Albatross. Maybury yanks the stick back, throwing his SE-5 into a dizzying acrobatic maneuver. He fires from point-blank range. The wounded Albatross plummets. Voss is alone once again. He zooms, distancing himself from the slower climbing SE-5s. Voss looks down at the plane circling below. He could easily disengage and live to fight another day. But the enticement of the kill runs hot through his veins.
I think actually he got greedy, and he was looking at an opportunity to notch number 49 and number 50, and furthermore to close the gap on his friend and rival Manfred von Richthofen.
Voss dives back into the fray. He fires his Spandau machine guns into the nearest SE-5. Its engine pummeled, the British pilot dives out of a fight. The dogfight rages above no man's land. Voss handles the triplane superbly, pumping rounds into each of the attacking SE-5s. But it isn't enough.
The thing that's unfortunate for Voss is that he never really put enough planes out of commission to gain any sort of advantage. All the bullets he put into all those planes, he never drew a drop of blood from any of those opponents.
To the British, Voss seems invulnerable.
The triplane was still circling round in the midst of 6 SEs who were all firing at it as opportunity offered. And at one time I noted the triplane in the apex of a cone of tracer bullets from at least 5 machines simultaneously, and each machine had 2 guns.
The British are dumbstruck by the skill and tenacity of the German pilot of the Fokker triplane. But Werner Voss's luck is about to run out. Voss is here. British ace James McCudden is here. They'll streak in head-on. But Voss doesn't see another SE-5 coming in from the side. The SE-5 on the side watches the merge, then opens fire. Rounds slam into the triplane's cockpit and fuselage. Voss stays aloft, but for the first time in the battle, he takes no evasive action. Then, Arthur Rhys-Davids dives on Voss from behind. He empties his Vickers machine guns into the triplane. Voss does little to avoid the deadly arc of bullets.
Given how much he straightened up and how the ferociousness of his maneuvering had abated, that he was wounded, and he was probably starting to have some difficulty maintaining consciousness.
Rhys-Davids fires another burst into the triplane, then pulls up. James McCudden is the only pilot to witness Voss's final moments.
When I next saw him, he was very low. I saw him go into a fairly steep dive, and so I continued to watch. And then saw the triplane hit the ground and disappear into 1,000 fragments. for it seemed to me that it literally went to powder.
After 10 minutes of ferocious combat, Werner Voss is dead at age 20. The German ace shot holes through every plane that attacked him, but incredibly, all returned to base.